Pleased to see he reached a firm conclusion that no charges should be brought against me in this case.
President Joe Biden speaking to the nation about the new report on his handling of classified documents, some of them found in the garage of his Delaware home. And the president also firing back at the special counsel report for including comments about the president's age and memory. Eyewitness News reporter Shayla Girardin joining us now with the president's passionate response. Shayla.
Yes, President Biden responding to that special counsel investigation. Today at the White House, Biden denying that he shared classified information and defending his memory. President Biden delivering fiery remarks tonight in response to that special counsel report. The report revealing that the president kept classified documents from his time as vice president.
I've seen the headlines since the report was released about my willful retention of documents. These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong.
The report ultimately recommending that no charges be filed against the president. While President Biden praised the outcome, he disagreed strongly with several of the report's findings. The report referring to him as an elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president, and I put this country back on its feet.
The report also stating that during Biden's interview, he could not remember the time frame of his vice presidential term or when his son, Beau, died.
There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
The report established that President Biden kept top secret material pertaining to the military and foreign policy and handwritten notebooks with sensitive information, some found inside his Delaware home.
I wish I had paid more attention to how the documents were being moved and where. I thought they were being moved to the archives. I thought all of it was being moved.
However, the counsel stating the president was cooperative with the investigation, turning in classified documents and consenting to multiple searches. The special counsel noting all this sets him apart from former President Trump, who has been charged with concealing top secret documents at his Mar-a-Lago home.
He gave the keys to his home, to his garage, to his office, and said, come on in and look. In both cases, we have a story of a former vice president or a former president having documents that they shouldn't have had. But the similarities really end there. And the difference is cooperation when it comes to President Biden and obstruction or alleged obstruction when it comes to former President Trump.
And amid those concerns about Biden's mental clarity, during his response tonight while addressing the Israel-Hamas war, he did mistakenly refer to Egypt's leader as the president of Mexico, a comment that his critics were very quick to point out.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.